G'day folks and welcome to the Encounters Down Under podcast. I'm your host Anthony Goodall and I invite guests to the show to share their amazing encounters with aliens and UFOs. If you or someone you know has had an encounter down under or anywhere in the world for our new segment Encounters Unbound, please get in touch with me via the Encounters Down Under Facebook page or email at australianUFOsightings@outlook.com.au. Be sure to join the Encounters Down Under Facebook page and YouTube channel where you can also get involved during the live stream interviews, sharing your thoughts and opinions during the live show. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to give us a rating and review on your favourite listening platform. But anyway, that's enough from me. Let's get into what you've been waiting for. Kick back and relax with your favourite beverage and enjoy the show. G'day folks and welcome to another episode of Encounters Down Under. Tamara joins us on the show to talk about several encounters she had witnessed, with one potentially causing a power surge nearby. She also goes on to talk about a freaky paranormal encounter with a dark figure. So please welcome to the show, Tamara. G'day Tamara, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on. Look, thanks for joining me and getting in contact with me to get on the show. It's absolutely wonderful having you on here. Look, you keep me up there to tell me about your experiences there, and obviously like we want to tell people about these experiences that you've had as well. You also had a bit of a paranormal experience as well on top of that. So look, we'll get started with your bit of a UFO experiences there, and I'll let you take the wheel, and we'll get in touch with your paranormal side as well, which is intriguing as well. So I'll let you go and take the wheel and go for it.
All right, no worries. This was roughly about in 2008, 2009. I went out to dinner with family to the local Chinese restaurant. My friend dropped me off out the front of my house. This was in Trafalgar, Victoria, which is South Gippsland region. And as I stood out the front of my house waving goodbye to the person that dropped me off, I looked up and I could see this massive round yellow orangey light, and it was not that high up. It was definitely over the tree line. And I looked up and it was coming from the Melbourne way, and I just watched it. There was no noise and it was just going at a steady pace straight along like the back of the highway, which is Prince's Highway. I'm 2 streets off from the highway. And it was unreal. So I knew it wasn't normal. There was no sound. It was massive and it was moving. So I quickly ran inside and got my daughter and told her to come outside and have a look at it. She came outside, took one look at it in the driveway, and was instantly scared and ran back inside. I'll admit I was frightened because I knew it wasn't normal, but I just had this compelling feeling. I was in awe, couldn't believe what I was watching, and I didn't want to take my eyes off it. I kind of wanted to jump in my car and go up to my dad's lookout that overlooks the town. But I thought, I better not, in case, you can get abducted and stuff. So, so I didn't. But, and then across the road from my house, like the UFO just disappeared. Like I couldn't see it, like that top of the house roof covered it. And then as it went out of my view, the house next door to me on the corner has a great big electricity power pole. And out came this yellow burst of electricity, like a surge, burst out the top of the power pole. It was like a yellowy white fizzle stuff, and it broke up into a whole heap of pieces and just went and just fizzled out to the ground.
That's incredible. So it couldn't have been like a firework or something maybe, or is it like from the actual power lines itself?
No, not the power line, the top of the actual power pole.
Oh, the power pole. Yeah, okay, wow.
Yeah, out the top of it. But, after, listening to YouTube of other people's UFO stories and stuff, they often say, if they're driving and they, they've seen a UFO in the sky, something happens to their car, it either stops or the radio turns off. So I think there's some sort of connection there with like, interfering with our frequencies, our electricity type stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like, it wasn't normal at all. I'll never forget it.
That's crazy. So how long did the whole experience last, do you think, from when you seen this object?
I reckon I was watching it for anywhere between 10-15 minutes.
Okay, so that's a decent amount of time.
Yep.
No
And I just
pictures
couldn't,
or video footage by chance?
no, no. But as I was standing out there watching it, um, I sort of like everything was like felt like it was dead silent. Like there was no dogs barking. Like you know, there was no neighbours that saw it. Like nobody was. I was just standing there thinking, how am I the only one noticing this? There's no like everyone must. All my neighbours must have been inside. And I'm thinking, how is no one out in the street like having a look at this thing? It was massive. It was bright, no noise, steady pace, straight across. It was like it was scanning. It was looking for something. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So, like, did you see like any sort of shape or definition to the actual object itself as well, or did it just mostly just a big bright light that was hiding it
It,
behind?
it was round. It was massive and it was round. It was like a big sun, but it wasn't the sun.
Yeah. So, was it actually like how high do you think this thing was from your point of view?
It, it was pretty low, pretty low. I reckon less than 5,000 feet.
Okay, that's pretty low then. Yeah. Okay, so it looked probably the
Yeah,
same height as what a light aircraft would probably be flying at,
I
roughly.
reckon it was low.
Yep.
Yep, definitely.
So, well, in regards to that, so like with the light shining from it, was it actually like lighting up the area around it, or was it just more just its own glow, confined glow?
It was more like, yeah, I couldn't see like, that there was a projection of light coming out from underneath it or anything. It was just glowing. It was just round and it was just bright, mainly yellow, but a bit of like maybe a tinge of orange in it. Um, yeah,
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 okay, if it wasn't like lighting up any of the rooftops or anything like that, or tree lines or anything like that, nothing like that.
no, no,
Yeah, that's interesting because I've heard stories they were like, they sort of give off their own light, whereas like very different to ours. Whereas like a direct light in a sense, even if it's like a beam of light or a spread beam of light or something like that, it still lights up the area around it to a certain
yeah,
degree. Whereas these objects seem to be really confined in their own light, and they're not really spreading that light. If that makes sense, it's not. It doesn't light up surrounding areas, which is strange in its own way.
yeah. I don't know, but I sort of got the feeling that it was going slow, but at a steady, constant pace. But I got the feeling that it was like out the back because like we're in the country, so like my roads here. Then I've got another two roads and the highway, and then over the over the highway is just all like bush and just farmers, cow land and stuff like that. So, but even though that there was no projection of light coming out from the bottom of it shining on an object, you know, I still got the feeling that it was looking for something.
Yeah. Okay. So with the speed, regards to that, was that like about the same speed as what a light plane would be doing, or is it a lot slower?
Oh, way slower.
Yep. So it's sort
Way.
of hovering. So if it was a plane, it would have been stolen and fallen to the ground, or
Yep. It
poss-
was. Yeah. It was quite very slow. Yeah. I mean, I can do it with. I can't say or even guess what speed it was going, but I can do it with the way that I saw it, like by making the noise. It sounds weird,
Yep.
but it like up up to like like this, and then it's like no noise, but it was like this is the speed it was doing. This is going to be so weird.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Sort of
Okay.
like that sort of speed.
Yep.
It's weird, but it was massive,
Yeah, that's strange. And
massive.
that's the big thing, like you mentioned too. Like no one else could see this thing, like especially next to a highway. Like you think cars would be pulling over everywhere. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've seen the videos on Facebook there, where over in America, people were freaking out seeing a orange light in the
yeah,
sky in the distance. They're all parking up on the highways and they're freaking out, and it's just the Goodyear blimp. So
yeah.
yet this thing here is what? Do you think maybe it could be in the size of a blimp?
I don't know how big a blimp is really.
Oh, they're pretty massive. I've seen one there as a kid on the Gold Coast when I was growing up. They had the Goodyear blimp come out, and we freaked out
Like,
too. Like we were thinking, oh, it's a UFO because it looks absolutely out of place in the
yeah,
way it just hovers there. So
yeah.
they're good size to them. So yeah, the fact that like no one was pulling up and freaking out over this thing makes you wonder
Well,
like why couldn't they see it?
from the house that I was living at the time, I can't actually see the highway 2 streets away, so I don't know if anyone pulled up on the highway and stopped and watched it. I don't know. But I looked like down, I've got a like where I lived, it was a massive long road, houses on both sides, and there was no one out there at all. No one.
It's strange because even that, in that sort of sense too, like I've spoken to other people in the past there where they sort of live in their like own dimension, which is a possible explanation. And for some people, or whatever the reason being, they get brought into this dimension as well, which excludes you from the outside sources. But you can sort
Yeah.
of see this object itself in your own sort of dimensional environment, if that makes sense. But the fact that you could
Mm,
also bring, was it your daughter you said, to come out and have a
yeah.
look? Yeah.
Yep.
Did anyone else come out and see this at all, or was it just you and your
No.
daughter?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So yeah. Was there anyone else at home at the time though, or was it just
No, it was just me and my daughter. Like I just separated from her father
okay?
3 years before that, so it was just me and her at home.
Yep. Okay. That sort of puts a bit of a thing to it too, where people sort of feel that seeing these things is also a bit of an emotional sort of connection. Like it brings that emotional frequency on top of this thing, where given the I don't know the spectrum that you're in, I suppose when you're going through all these emotional changes, like like people will say like during family loss, or they're going through like as you
Yep.
mentioned, then you just like you split with a partner.
Yep.
Your emotional vibrations are changing, and you're changing the spectrum of what you're seeing in reality. And whether that's a thing or not, I don't know. But people sort of claim this is a possibility, and that
Yep.
could be a reason why you saw this thing that was there hovering around, but other people weren't because you were in that sort of zone. If it makes sense.
I don't know. I just think that most of my neighbours. I mean, it was 9:30 at night, roughly. Most of my neighbours must have been inside. You know,
Yeah,
um, no one was, because I was already getting out of a car, and I looked up and I could see this yellow light, thinking it's too late for the sun to be out. Next thing you know, it's coming closer towards. Yeah, and it's just massive, massive, and it was moving and dead silent. Not even a rumble. Couldn't even feel like a frequency inside. You know how people can go, oh, you sort of feel it, sort of rumble or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, nothing. Dead silent and
yeah.
moving.
So you weren't even getting like a sort of like a feeling of attachment to this thing at all, nothing like that sort of sense.
Oh, I was stunned. I was amazed. I couldn't believe how lucky I was to have seen it. I knew it wasn't normal. It was no normal aircraft. It wasn't the sun. It wasn't me imagining it. Like it just was what it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess it was probably a bit too early for social media to really be going off its chops around that time. Like we were sort of getting a grasp with social media back then. But
Well,
nothing on the news or radio or anything like that.
and that I tried to do research. I even look on YouTube, typing in, different types of UFOs witnessed and seen in Australia or Victoria, and a couple I've seen in different countries were like the big round yellow one, but nothing like, it's all filmed up high in the sky, nothing like my view that I had. So, but I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day, and there was a young woman on there, and she said she lived um, in New South Wales, I think, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. And her and her boyfriend, her partner, were in bed, and they had a little boy, and they lived in a one-bedroom
I
house.
think you might be talking
And
about Rachel.
yeah, and she said that the light was shining inside her, in her bedroom or whatever, and her boyfriend got up and had a look, and it just took off. Um, that's because she said that was like yellow, and I think a yellowy orange.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's the same type of craft that we saw. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was was this the first experience you've had with regards to a possible UFO in that nature?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. My mum, like, she died when I was 16 of a massive heart attack. But growing up as a kid, like, she was a little bit spiritual. Like, she wasn't closed minded. She believed that, in ghosts and stuff like that. Wasn't really talked about a lot, but she wasn't ever closed minded about it. So I sort of grew up being a little bit like that too. Um, open to the idea, that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I've always grown up a little bit spiritual and open-minded. But yeah, when I saw this UFO, I thought that just sealed the deal for me. And I'm like, I knew it was true. I knew it was true.
It's always a great
So
feeling, isn't it, when it's like something that you've been longing for and believing for so long. Like you weren't against the whole thing, but just something that gives you that extra proof and evidence to say like, yeah, we are actually real. We exist, and that's the
yeah,
best. That's like the best feeling ever, isn't it? It's just like that big satisfaction. Go, wow, okay, yep, my mind is blown. It is
yeah.
incredible.
I honest to God, it was real, and it wasn't normal.
Yeah, and you're buzzing for a few days, aren't you? It's just absolutely
Yeah,
like it's just it's
yeah. I was amazed. I couldn't believe. I still look back and I've like got goosebumps on my arms just thinking about it. Thinking, I wish I could see it again, but yeah, I'm still scared though.
yeah, yeah. I understand that completely. It's an incredible feeling, like, and especially like the best part of this whole thing is like I talk to a lot of people there. You get a lot of people who are a bit like skeptical. I don't like the word skeptical, but it's the term that they want to use.
Yep.
The people that like sort of they believe but they don't believe at the same time because they want the bigger evidence and stuff like that. It's like when you get someone to like an absolute undeniable skeptic, like where they think nothing else exists except for what we see in their everyday lives, and yet they go and see something that defies all their known logic, and they're like, okay, these things are real.
Yeah.
What has been happening my whole entire life? It's
Yeah.
it's a total eye opener for them, and that's what I love about this whole thing. Like they get proven wrong, and I love that.
I've noticed it happens a lot with men and with seeing ghosts. Often, like the wives are a little bit more open, and they might have a ghost in their house or something like that, and the husband or whatever partner will be like, "Oh no," sort of dismiss it, and then you know the guy will see it and he'll be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that. I thought this was not possible."
Yeah, it's something along the lines of my research too. Is even like other researchers themselves, like they'll say like women are a lot more open to what would be the unnatural to us, I suppose, like the unknown. So when it comes to paranormal, even UFOs or stuff like that, they seem to see things a lot more than what men would do, or I don't know, it's something within that spectrum of the female's mind or something, or with their eye or whatever. They just seem to be a lot more open to it, which is a strange coincidence in the same way.
I think, yeah, it could have something to do with women being mothers, and they sort of naturally do have a sixth sense type thing going on,
Yeah,
maybe.
mother's intuition sort of type thing.
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, this is no insult to men, but women are very, like, they can be doing something else and then they're this and multitasking, and um, they're just very aware and in tune, I think,
Yeah,
and especially like when they become a mum.
yeah, it's right. Like, there's definitely a thing there between us, like this. Yeah, like you're saying, there's nothing to sort of differentiate. I can't even say the word now.
Yeah,
Differentiate from men and women. Like, but there are certain abilities that men and women do have, and like that's nature. You can't change that. But
yeah.
like I was saying, like this is something I've just sort of been sort of getting into a little bit myself now, which I've just sort of recently learnt about. Is something that's called tetrachromacy, where it's not all women have this ability, but it's prone to be in women only. Whereas men, if they always sort of have this sort of ability, they are actually colorblind. So there's something that's going on with our, I don't know if it's a gene thing or if it's like it's something that's a
Okay.
mutation in our own bodies or something like. But yeah, women have this thing called tetrachromacy where they are able to see more colors or more vibrant colors, which they can see better in that sort of spectrum of visual visualization.
Oh,
So
okay.
so that's where it also comes into play there, where we're saying like women have the more ability to be open minded into seeing different things more commonly than what men would do.
Yeah.
So whether tetrachromacy is part of that factor, I don't know. It's just something of those things I'm sort of trying to work out myself now to try and link why women are more prone to seeing more of that spectrum of the unnatural, or if
That's
you want to call
interesting.
it natural, because it is natural.
That's interesting. I might look into that. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, no, I've only just got recently put onto me from someone who emailed me through because I was always asking the question like, why can people see things but yet others can't? And as I was mentioning before, like whether it be a dimensional thing there where people get drawn into that dimension and by accident or by force, I don't know. That's another question. Or are people just able to see something there that's because of their extra abilities in their eyes or their mind, where they're more open to or more prone to be seeing these things. So it leaves
Yeah.
a lot of questions.
I think also if you have, like, some people tend to just look down and they're so consumed with the modern world or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, just um, they don't go sit outside like me at night time and go and have a cup of tea and just look up. And I'm not, disappointed. I did it last night. I did it the night before. I'm not disappointed that if I don't see anything, which I didn't the last 2 nights. But um, yeah, I think if you've got a bit of a, I don't know, maybe some people are born with it, some aren't, a bit of higher consciousness,
Yeah,
maybe. A little bit more aware of your surroundings, not just looking in your phone, you know, constantly. And I think if you just just if you open yourself up just a little bit and just be open to, these things, can happen. But yeah, since I seen that yellow UFO, um, I've I just have this knack now of just, I could be anywhere, like camping or out in the backyard, and I look up and it's right. I can see something that's not normal in the sky. So even a couple of my friends have gone, "Wow, you've got this weird thing going on. How you can just out the corner of your eye, you can pick something up that's moving type thing." I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Look,
Weird.
people have claimed too, like after they've had their initial experience there, that it's sort of broadened their spectrum of the mind, basically, or open their consciousness, their vibration, or whatever it is, to open their eye up, or third eye, if you want to call it that. Where they're
Yeah.
able to start seeing things a bit more commonly, or they might have the chance to see something of that nature.
Yeah.
So
And you
that also leads questions to the two.
Yeah, and I know some people that do believe in UFOs and aliens and stuff like that, but they haven't seen them. And they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky, Tam. Like, you saw like two, or at least two. I know that it was definitely two. I've probably seen a couple more that just sort of, didn't, you know, go,
Yeah,
I don't know. You sort of forget, like, if it's not something that's outstanding, like the two that I saw, you sort of tend to,
yeah. You sort of
but
like start palming off a little bit, going, "Well, it's not like that amazingly unusual, but it's like something that you just like, possibly something." But yeah,
yeah, and if you're not sure, but I think these two encounters that I saw really stood out, were abnormal. So that's why I've always remembered them.
yeah.
So
So you want to tell
I
us about the
just,
second one of your one you seen?
yeah, the second one was I moved to my new house where I'm currently at. I think it was about 2018, 2019. It was definitely before COVID hit. I was out of my back decking and yeah, just sitting out on my chair under there, and looked up, and I've got this great big glass window that I can just see through as soon as I come out my back door. And it was towards Melbourne, and I looked up and there was this red light, um, and it was flashing on and off. It was doing weird maneuvers, like it was zigzagging, and then it'd stop, but it wasn't just little zigzags, like they were big and just crazy, weird, just weird speeds. Um, and I ran inside and got my daughter out of bed, and I said, "Talish, come and have a look at this. This is like not normal." She come out and had a look, and yeah, she freaked out again. She's like, "Oh God, yeah." And yeah, ran back to bed, and I just couldn't take my eyes off it and stood there watching it. And then it stopped zigzagging and moving and darting around, and it just stood still for, I don't know. I think I was watching this thing for at least 30 minutes. And then eventually just stopped and just stayed still. And then its lights just slowly, slowly, slowly went less red until it just totally faded out.
Yeah, okay. So it might have been just in a straight line heading off out to the horizon, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It looked like it would just stood still, like it was not moving. Like after watching it for ages, just zigzagging everywhere. It was just, yeah. I mean, like planes and helicopters don't go
Yeah. Well, I
like,
was going to say a drone. Like, the question I was going to ask, like, could it have been possibly a drone? But then you mentioned about 30 minutes of time frame watching this thing, and the
yep,
best you're going to get out of a drone is about 15, 20 minutes, especially around
is
that
it?
time. Like, yeah, around about 2018, that's when drones started really sort of coming out a bit more then. But
Yeah,
yeah, they were lucky to do pull 15, 20 minutes at the best around that
yeah,
time.
right.
But
Yeah,
even then, you would still have navigation lights depending on the type of drones. Like you'll see a bit of green lights, but if this thing was purely red, then it sort of rules out drones in entirely anyway, with just regards to how long you were actually watching this for.
yeah. It did occur to me, like that's why it caught me eye, the light, and then I watched it and I thought, that doesn't look normal. Um, but it did cross my mind that could have been a drone. But after watching it, and I just thought, no, I don't reckon even a drone could do that. The
You'd be
s-
surprised
the,
what maneuvers drones can pull. They're quite incredible. A
the
lot of people
speed,
sort of they don't give credit what drones can actually do with set up right. You
yeah,
know, they can do some incredible maneuvers. Speeds are quite decent. You know, like I think people need to stop thinking that drones aren't a possibility with the maneuvers that they can do. It's just more the
yeah,
time frame of how long you can watch them for. That's where the limit's going to come with, especially like drones
yeah,
that are into to the public's availability. Like I was saying, like they can sort of spend about probably about half an hour up in the air at a time, depending on what they're
okay,
doing. Like if they're like maneuvering around like rapidly, like they're going to drain the battery in no time. But if they're just
yeah,
like hovering or just slowly maneuvering around, they're going to have a lot more playtime in the air. But
yeah. I
in that sense, like you're saying, like they're maneuvering around, doing crazy maneuvers and stuff like best you have a drone to do at that time there was like probably make 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the best with
yeah,
crazy maneuvering.
the speeds were phenomenal. I don't know nothing about drones at all, nothing.
Yeah.
So
So what were the maneuvers like? Were they like sort of like instant to like to one spot there, like you just follow like the line till it's like from one point here and then just bang
I
to another point, or is it just sort of like a big
like
fast?
it was doing just all types. It was like it was, stationary, completely still. Then it started doing a whole heap of these weird maneuvers, and it was just zigzag, and it was like up, cross, down, like just, but not just little zigzags like it. They were big, and then it'd stop, and then come back around and zigzag again, and then completely stop for a couple of seconds or minutes or whatever. And I don't know, it was just weird.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I'm
Yeah,
trying to get like a bit of like a bit of a critical analysis across. I'm not trying to like give any discredit to it. I'm just trying to give them an idea, like any possibilities to try and rule out. And by
yeah.
sounds of it, like like I was saying, like you can rule a drone out, you can rule a plane out because planes can't do that. Helicopters won't even attempt to do anything like that.
I knew it wasn't any normal aircraft, but when I first saw it, I thought, oh, maybe it could have been a drone. But after watching it for like half an hour, I thought, nah, I don't reckon. I just knew with myself, like the speeds and the zipping and the zagging and just going that fast doing the zigzags and then just to completely just stop like that is just unreal.
Yeah. Oh, look, another thing that like you think it'd be on social media somewhere, someone will record this. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
it seems strange.
Yeah. And I did, after that, I did find on Facebook, I think it's a Melbourne paranormal or UFO Facebook group. And I searched on there and I, yeah, put my story on there and that, but yeah, I didn't,
No responses to it, unfortunately.
no.
Yeah, it's strange. It's annoying, like, because like, you want people to be able to like see the same thing that you're seeing to like sort of help verify what it could have been, and then just like
Yeah.
sort of like give more credibility to your story, you know. And that's the sad part. And this is where it comes down to like, are people seeing these things or not, or is it just these special amount of
Well,
people that can see these?
they could be. They could be seeing the same things, but obviously there's that many of them going on. People can't sort of, they're in different areas and it's hard to sort of match it up too. Like it takes time. Um, some people don't even want to talk about it because
Yeah,
people think that they're nuts. I'm personally, I'm not afraid. Like I don't care what people think. I know I know the three extraordinary things I've been blessed to see. So I don't care if people don't believe me because they're true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
mean,
Like, as long as you believe it yourself, and like you know these things are real, you're not hallucinating, this seeing things. Like there's like obviously no drugs involved, no alcohol involved. Like there's the things you don't have to be on that sort of substances to see these things. People
yeah,
are of the right mind, they're of a sound mind, and just
yeah,
randomly seeing these things. So that's the biggest reality of this thing. Not everyone's on drugs. No one's crazy. Just
yeah,
reality.
yeah. Um, yeah, but I do think that the whole area of it is getting better. Like people are sort of waking up a little bit more. They're looking up. They're talking more open to other people about it now. I do think it's getting a lot better. So that's a positive for me. I like seeing people discuss it and be open minded, or people that haven't seen paranormal things but are still open to it. I love it. I love sharing it. I love listening to people's stories. Yeah, that red one stood out as a UFO to me, but I definitely don't know whether it could have been a drone, but it didn't look like it to me. It looked pretty like something from not this world.
Yeah, well,
And
even at this point, it's still a UFO because it's still unidentified. Um,
yeah,
but whether or not you want to claim it as a alien craft, that's another thing. Like that's puts it on a totally different spectrum.
I'd be more sure about that yellow one that I saw. I reckon 1000% that thing was. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
That's the main thing that's out in my mind. It's just unbelievable. I wish I wish everyone could have seen it.
It's
So
frustrating, isn't it?
yeah. I wish I could know more about it. I wish I could meet someone or talk to someone that may have seen that the same one at the same time, or maybe one that looks the same at a different time in a different state area, you know. But yeah, I try and do as much research as I can. Not
Yeah,
only about the one that I've seen, but I like listening to other people's stories. I love watching the videos of them on YouTube and stuff. I don't know. I just got a real thirst for that kind of knowledge. Even though I don't claim to know more than anybody else. I'm just fascinated by it because I'm fascinated by it because I do think it's real. It does happen.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with trying to question what it is and trying to figure out what the answers are for. Because even though,
yeah,
like, even the best person in the world who researches this every day, um, they might claim to know what they are, but honestly, I don't think they know at all because no one knows. We don't have the clear answer. We don't have that definitive little alien
yeah,
or whatever spaceship landing on our front doorsteps. They're going, "Hello, we are here. We are to exist," because we don't have any evidence of that. There's nothing there that can be or nearly claimed as like CGI or fake or would have nothing there that gives us that clear evidence that we want. So
well,
we're
not
all
that
guessing
normal,
here.
not not that normal regular people like you and I around the planet don't know, but maybe there was maybe the Roswell incident, and there was aliens found, and maybe that was taken to Area 51. We will never know,
Yeah,
but it's a possibility
that's
that
it.
it
That's
was
right.
true.
Oh, absolutely. Look, there's so many different questions there, like so many different scenarios that could possibly be true, and like you're saying, like we might never ever know, or never even find out. But until we actually get them physically landing on our front doorsteps there and waving to us, going "G'day," then
Yeah,
yeah, we won't ever really know because they're
it's
massive
always
cover-ups.
it's always going to be up for debate. Yeah. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating
Oh,
part too. Like when you look into this whole genre of UFOs or even the paranormal thing, because there's no evidence to back it up. That's where we start looking at like crazy people because like we're making stuff up, or people might
yeah.
be trying to get attention out of it, for whatever reasons. If they're trying to monetize out of it, even it's one of those things like it's entertaining to say the least. But for the ones who are hardcore and like people experiences there who have had genuine experiences, I feel for them. Like including myself, I've had my own experiences, and I
You
feel it's
have.
frustrating. Yes, I have. I feel it's very frustrating because we've had nothing there to give credibility to our experiences there to really prove that like these things are real. We're not talking bullshit. We're not talking crap. We're not crazy like I'm
Yeah.
saying. We're not on drugs or alcohol for that, whatever reasons. You know, we are literally seeing these things, and they're worldwide, and that's the frustrating part because we want people to understand where everyone's coming from when we say like, "Yeah, look, we've seen something that's strange and crazy."
Yeah,
It's against our laws of nature as we know it, but the existence is there, but we can't prove it.
yeah. But the thing is, too, that's when you just let it go and go, well, I'm not going to be able to prove it to everybody in the world, but I know that I saw it. So, just try and be at peace with that, perhaps.
Yeah, and that's one of the
But
other
but
things I do. Sorry, go ahead.
I understand. Like, it is frustrating because I want to, I want evidence. I want to know what that thing is that I saw, that yellow thing. But probably never will, and that's okay. I just think that, yeah, we're lucky if we do experience like things that aren't normal.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy doing this podcast, because I love getting people on here talking about this, and like this is what helps give credibility to the experiences there because people are
Yep,
seeing these same things or similar things of that nature, and
yep,
having multiple people seeing the same or similar things, that's going to give more credibility to the whole topic itself, and that's where I
yeah,
love it, like because that's where our evidence is in doing this sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah. It's a good thing what you're doing. So thank you.
No, no, I appreciate it. No, look, it's all thanks to you and others coming out speaking about it because obviously, like you were saying before, there's still like stigma attached to it. There's a bit of fear, a bit of criticism behind it, and people are still hiding in that. And so I think it's a lot more brave for you people to come on and talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Well, I've got nothing to hide. So, and I honestly believe that what I saw was real. And I don't care what people think. If you want to call me crazy, whatever, I don't care. You're gonna have to do that with millions of other people around the world too. Then, so
That's right.
I'm just, I think that I'm pretty brave. You know what I mean? Pretty gutsy. Like, yeah, I don't let things stop me. I don't care what people think. So I know what I saw. So, um, yeah, sounds narrow-minded and selfish, but I'm not going to let anyone sort of like that. The ghost that I saw, I told my ex that, and I said, and he just stayed quiet. And I said, "Oh, you don't believe me, do you?" And he goes, "I believe that you believe it." And and I thought, well, that's okay, fair enough. That's what you think or whatever. Um, yeah, what can you do about it? Like you can't expect everyone to believe me or type thing.
Just
But
before we
yeah,
do get
just
to your paranormal side, there, I just got a couple of questions there in regards to your first experience. Like, so like obviously you don't really understand or know what the yellow object could have been, but do you have like a sort of like, over the time you've thought about this? Do you think what it could have been controlled by alien entities of that nature, or
yeah, yeah. I don't think it was no normal aircraft. Um, it felt like it wasn't from this world, like made in this world or originally from this world. Could just feel it. It wasn't normal. It was too big. It was bright. It was abnormal. No sound. The surge that it had, it interfered with electricity, the power pole. Yeah,
yeah, that's the
yeah. I don't
strange
think.
part too, isn't it? Where it came out of the power pole itself, not the actual power lines, which is very strange.
Yep, out the top of the power pole. Yep, all this yellow. I think it started out as like just like a yellow, like small star type thing, just come bursting out of the top of it, and then it just shattered into like 100 pieces, and all broke off all these little individual like
Similar like a firework, basically.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
sort of referred to, like possibly like a firework could have gone off at the right time, maybe. But if you're saying that it's coming out from the top of the power pole, then it's like you can't.
yeah, it did.
Yeah, so that's the strange part. I've never really heard of that. Like I've heard of like these crafts sort of interfering with power and all that sort of stuff, but not to the extent of like something bursting out of the top of a power line, where it
No,
doesn't
I
even
haven't.
conduct electricity from the top of a power line because it wouldn't. So
Yeah, it was weird. It was so weird, and I've never come across anyone saying the same thing ever either.
yeah,
Like it was weird. Like I'm standing probably 50 meters from the pole,
yeah,
and I because soon as a UFO passed over, like went past, but the house on the corner, its roof covered it. And I'm like, damn it, I can't see it anymore. Soon as I couldn't see it, that's when the big surge come out of the power pole.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was just making an assumption there with the power pole. Is it a wooden power pole or is it a metal or
Yeah,
concrete?
nah,
Wooden. Yep.
yep.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
I can even when I'm because that's in Trafalgar. I'm in Maui now,
Yep.
but my family still lives in Trafalgar, and my sister lives down a road near it. I look at that power pole every time I turn that corner to go up to my sister's house. So I can even take an actual photo of the power pole and send it to you if you want.
Yeah. Or even if you want to do that. Yeah. And like, there was no damage to the
Yeah.
power pole or anything like that.
Hey,
No damage to the power pole or anything like that.
no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So, going referring back to sorry.
I don't remember if I went out the next day and looked at it to see if it was burnt or anything. I can't. I probably should have. I mean, I may have, but it's not something that I remember looking for. I don't know why. That's pretty silly because that'd be the first thing you do is like, go out and have a look the next morning or whatever and see if it's burnt or the grass is burnt or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
You're
don't.
supposed to still get spooked.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, it was sort of like, yeah, as it passed, it was interfering with our electricity or something. It
Yeah.
was sucking or was too that thing held too much energy which interfered with our electricity. I don't know. It definitely had something to do with it though,
Yeah. So
because there's
no, the houses around didn't like lose any power or anything like that, or nothing like sort of surge or
not
dim.
that I not that I know of. And when I couldn't see it and I seen the it come out of the power pole, I obviously stood out there for a bit longer or whatever and then went back inside, but I can't remember if the power went off or anything. So I mean, I think I would remember if it did.
Yeah.
So
No, that's fair enough.
yeah, it's just unreal. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Absolutely. So obviously, like, given like you had a little time to sort of think this over, like, what are your thoughts when you come to think of like the actual ET and controlling these things? Like, what's your immediate thoughts of what they look like in that nature? What's your thoughts?
Um, well, it's hard to say really because, you know, the more research you do, the more you can get a little bit brainwashed into they're 3 foot, they're, big eyes, big head, short, spindly limbs. It's hard to sort of until you've seen one. But I do, within myself, I do believe that there are probably thousands and thousands of different kinds. Obviously, from um, the kids at the primary school in Africa back in the 60s that saw the UFO. Apparently, they were black and hairy or something, I think. Um,
Vaguely remember that one. I know the one the story you're talking about, but I can't quite remember the whole entire story. But yeah,
to the other side of the world, where they look reptilian. I do believe, like, we're only like a speck in this whole thing. So I do think that there are a lot of different types. I think they've got a lot of different agendas. I do believe that there are tall, blonde, beautiful Nordic types. I do believe that probably there are reptilian ones. I do believe that there probably are the little grey children looking ones. Anything is possible.
yeah,
But I tell you one story is the Travis Walton one. Oh, when I
yeah,
heard that, I just thought this man is not lying at all. He's still traumatized by it. He's just no doubt in my mind that he's telling the truth.
yeah.
Yeah,
I had someone on the podcast they were actually met and got with met up with him and all sorts of stuff and talked to him and that and said he's genuine.
that's cool. Yeah,
So yeah, I can't remember who I was speaking to with that one now, but yeah, I'm trying to think now. Brain's gone dead. But
yeah,
yeah, like I mean, even she was saying like like he's genuine. Like there's no bullshit behind his story at all.
yeah. You can see it. You can see that he's telling the truth. Absolutely. And you just think, oh, you poor man. Like, no, I don't, like, no one's going to come out and say stuff like that so they can be ridiculed and put under tests and scrutiny and have cops lying about them. And, you know what I mean? They're not going to normal people aren't going to do put themselves in that position in for the rest of their life to be laughed at and scrutinized. It just doesn't make sense. And you can see it's written all over his face. He's not lying
Yeah.
at all.
I think it's just recently too, like his the guys that was with him at the time, they've come out now too, trying to say it was all bullshit. And it's
Really.
like, yeah, I don't
They've-
quote me on. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, but yeah, like even then, like it's like you're pretty late on coming out saying it's bullshit now. Like, why after all these years say it's bullshit instead of saying like what's happened between that? There, like either he's got sick of the whole story and the attention that's come with it, or because he's not getting enough attention on it. Maybe I don't know.
yeah, who knows? I know. I think I don't know, but I think one of them did die, didn't they? Did you hear
Oh, I'm
that?
not sure. I haven't really kept too much up with it. Oh, I just remember here is uh seeing a thread about one of the guys there coming out saying it was all fake or something like that.
Mm.
So whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's just everything's all rumors these days.
Well, that's a bit sad. Yeah, I think it's true, and I really do think that they really um, got frightened out of their wits and thought he was dead and did take off. I mean, I think any normal people do that. I
Yeah,
mean, um, I mean, unless it was like your kids or something or a family member, then maybe people wouldn't take off. But I don't know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't seen the movie for it yet either, but apparently Hollywood really ruined the whole story. Like they made it worse than what it sounded.
Which one are you talking about? Are you
Pretty
talking?
sure it's called Fire in the Sky.
Oh yeah, that's the original one. That was made a long time ago.
Yeah,
That was um, that was too embellished.
yeah,
Even Travis said that. Um, but I did hear that he's making one himself, and it's a true his version of it. But I haven't come across it or anything yet.
yeah. Okay, I'll have to try and keep an eye out for it, and if it comes up, I'll
That
share
was
it out.
yeah, I reckon that was quite a few years ago. He said that, so I don't know. I don't know what happened to it, but I'd be interested to watch it. But I've watched him talk a lot at conferences and stuff like that too. Yeah, I think that one's a very fascinating case.
Yeah, definitely. No, look, there's a lot of cases out there where things have happened to people there and they're not taken seriously, or
Mm.
obviously because yeah, back in those days, there the stigma's still attached to the crazy persons. You can't believe them because they're for
Yeah,
whatever reasons. But it's sort of weird, like back in those days where it was really concentrated on, like where people were having these sort of experiences there, and now coming these days, we're not really seem to be seeing a lot of these sort of cases, if that makes sense. We're not seeing like abduction people, like media wise attention of abductions. Like what's happened between the 80s and the 90s, where the highlights were a lot of people getting abducted.
very
Their stories were getting taken by media,
yeah.
but yet now these days we're not really getting much of that at all.
It's because they're shunned upon.
Well, yeah.
I
Or
tell
is
you,
this the
yeah,
media's just got no interest in it anymore? Because like I know there's a bit of a laughing stock maybe back in those days there, but there was seemed to be a lot of more I don't know media coverage with it because like you had
they.
the
I've
Knowles
noticed
case.
they do laugh a lot. I've seen like a couple of snippets on even on some of the Australian um, morning shows and that, and they sort of we've got some footage of a UFO apparently spotted in Queensland, Australia, and and I have a bit of a laugh about it. But it's not
Yeah,
only Australia;
no, that's
it's
right.
yeah. I don't think they should be laughing at it. It's like they're told to laugh at it and treat it as a joke, and it's not a joke.
No,
They're
that's right.
real.
That's right. And that's the biggest thing that we need to try and get across to the media, even to the public that who are so skeptical in this whole thing that these things are real and exist. Stop taking the piss out of everything.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, not every single thing that everyone says is the truth. There are a lot of cases out there, and people say, oh, yeah, they were taken up in the UFO and whatever. Some of them probably true, but there's probably some that aren't as well.
That's right.
So you can't believe everything you see and you read, but there is something to it. I don't think somebody just imagined these creatures up and these aircrafts a long time ago. Like it's all over caves, it's all over like all different nationalities all over the world. Like they're ancient.
Yeah.
Aliens have been around for a long time. They probably even created this planet. Who'd know?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things. That's one of my theories for like we're a bit of an alien ant farm where they've sort of planted the seed for humans to grow, and they're
We
just
could
sitting back and observing.
we could even that might be why they're abducting people or have because they're trying to do hybridization. Who knows? Or maybe we're half them as well. Who knows? Maybe they created us. We don't know.
That's it. So
But it's fascinating. Like the lady Linda Moulton Howe, like she's clever.
yeah,
Like I like her. I don't often get to, but she said there's some stuff linking to oh, Antarctica.
yep.
Coming out of the water and the ice in Antarctica, and yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff that seems to be happening down that way. Like, there's a lot of attention, and especially in the UFO community, where the highlight seems to be Antarctica is the place to be at the moment in regards to UFOs and that, because
Yeah,
we're a better place to really sort of go and sort of work on UFOs or hide UFOs, or even again
yeah,
like down deep in the ocean, because like there's plenty of ocean down there to go and hide down to.
yeah. Very
So
deep and populated. Yeah.
yep, so it
Who knows?
makes you wonder.
It's fascinating. It's all fascinating. I love learning and listening, and yeah.
It is. So look, tell us about this paranormal thing that you had, this experience you had. I'm sure people are itching to hear what this experience of yours was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether, that would be going against the rules. Like that's why I asked you. I've seen a ghost thing. Yeah, and you said it was okay to tell the
Yeah,
story.
no, we get the odd few here that coming through on the podcast. They have a bit of paranormal experience as well.
Yeah,
It's like, look, you know what? This is all the unknown sort of stuff. It's got something that's sort of interesting and goes against the norm of, modern day. So why not bring it in?
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I think it was 2010 or 11. It was about a year or two before I nearly died and got bowel surgery. Um, my daughter was about 7 or 8 at the time. This was in the same house where I saw that yellow UFO light. It was in Traff, and it was about 11:30 at night. I'm laying in bed. My bed head is facing south. My bedroom door is to the east, and my daughter, about 7 or 8 at the time, is laying beside me in my bed. Um, Went to sleep about 9:30. I woke up at 11:30 and sat up because the temperature in the room just dropped dramatically. It was freezing cold and it woke me up out of a deep sleep. And then I flipped me old silver LG flip flop phone open, flipped the screen open, and as I'm looking at the time, it was like 11:25 or something like that, and you could see all this, like condensation steam coming out of my mouth. It was that cold in my room, and I look over and this thing flew in from the door. I had a chest of drawers on an angle in the corner of my bedroom. And I watched this thing come in and it just went whoosh straight past me to the corner of my bedroom. Um, it stood there for a minute. Well, it came in and it was probably about a meter off the floor. And I could see, I don't know how I saw it, but it had all these like V slits underneath its cape, like a witch's cape. How you can cut the bottom of the material like that. That's what it had all around it, and it was about a meter off the floor. It was black. It had a cloak. So my sort of way of explaining it kind of looked like a grim reaper. So it flew straight into me corner of my bedroom. I looked at it. It looked at me. I felt what it felt. It felt what I felt, type thing. Like, it was weird, and I felt that it was stunned. It didn't know where I just landed, and I'm looking at it going, "What are you? And where did you come from?" And we both just looked at each other and felt it, and then it done a complete 360 on the spot and went whew, and straight back out where it come from. And after it left, the temperature in the room returned to normal, and I was like, "Oh my god, what was that thing?" And I laid back down and I put the blanket over my daughter's head, over my head, tucked the doona up under my feet, because I thought, "Oh, if this thing comes back, I don't want it getting in the bed with me." And and it didn't come back. Not that it would stop it, but that's just the type of, when you're afraid, you're like, "Oh my god." And I turned me back to the door, and I thought, God, I don't want to see this thing if it comes back, and it's not getting in over my head, and it's not getting in from under my feet.
Oh, that would have been terrifying.
Yeah, I cannot believe it. I couldn't have even dreamt that thing up.
Oh, it's I don't know, like what do you do? Like yeah, like you're saying, like you can't do anything but just like go in a fetal position and just try and hide, like because you can't do anything about it, you don't understand what it is. It's just
Yeah,
it's giving me a bit of goosebumps just thinking about what I'd do.
it was. It scared the living hell out of me. And it had no limbs. Didn't see like no arms out of the cloak. Didn't see no legs, even though it was a meter off and flying. It had no. I couldn't see no facial features. Not even like red eyes. You know, some people say, oh, they're like black shadow people or whatever, and they're bad news if they've got red eyes or something. They reckon. Because I was trying to do research on what this thing was after it, but didn't even have like no facial features, no limbs, no eyes. Couldn't see nothing, just the black outline, like a black cloak, sort of, the arms, like you could see like sort of like a shawl thing, and then yeah, the bottom of it, and then the slits in the
Yeah,
bottom
so
of
it
it.
had like a hood there, but it's just like where the face should be. It was just all black and dark, and yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
wow, that is scary. Like I don't really hear anything
Yeah.
of that at all. Like when you come through your research, like did you get much on it on that at all? When like trying to determine what it
Not
could have been?
not really. No. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like got perforated intestines, very sick with Crohn's disease a year or two later, and should have died, but got a lot of willpower and recovered from 2 blood transfusions and getting all my intestines chopped out and a stoma bag on my belly. But I don't know whether it came in at the wrong time. Maybe it was coming to get me. But actually, that reminds me. So after I did see that, one of my family members gave me a feng shui book for Christmas. So I'm reading it, and then I come across all these different things, and one of them said, "Whatever you do, do not put your bed head facing south," which is what it was, because it opens up portals to bad spirits to come into this realm, into this world, and it can also make you have a bad life and bad things happen to you, and yeah, just not a happy person. So I'm like, oh God, maybe that's why it came in. I was sort of like opening a portal by having me bed facing south. So yeah, I moved it the next day and moved it to the west, and yeah, never saw it again. No other. But I do remember I went out one night. I don't know whether this was before or after the the Grim Reaper thing, but my sister looked after my daughter while I had a night out. And I think Talisha was probably about 5 then, so I think it was probably before the ghosty thing. Um, my sister Jess reckons that she was laying in my bed. Talisha was in the bed. This is when the bed was facing east, sorry. And she woke up, and it was about midnight. She woke up and she seen on, because Jess is on this side of the bed, Talisha's on that side of the bed. She reckons she woke up and she's seen a ghost lady with short grey hair and black eyes standing over the bed, standing over Talisha, my daughter. And Jess woke up and like was scared and said, what are you doing? Who are you? And she goes, it's okay. And she had her hands behind her back and she's bending over and she goes, it's okay. I'm just checking to see if Talisha's all right. Like, I'm just checking over Talisha.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe a possible great grandmother or something.
Uh, don't know. I don't know if my grandma was still alive then or not. My grandma died in 2005, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Could have even been my mum, because my mum died when I was 16.
Okay.
So, but my mum had like black curly shoulder length hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. Look,
So
when it
yeah.
comes to paranormal sort of things, like I find it more scary than the UFO kind of topic because there's a lot
Mm,
more random unknown things with the paranormal side of things because like it's got such a broad range of what it could possibly be, like ghosts or like some sort of cryptid kind of thing, demonic or
yeah.
good or evil. You know, it's sort of it's that's more scary to me.
Yeah, it does scare me too. Um, my brother, you can't talk to him about any stuff like that, but he told me 2 weeks ago when we got back from camp and um, we were driving home, and he told me that he's seen two ghosts and he thought it might have been mum. Yeah,
Okay.
and I never. He's only 3 years younger than me, so yeah. And I never knew. Never
Yeah.
knew
So,
until
just a question. So, in regards to like the whole,
he gets freaked out, and so does me younger sister Jess, my older sister Dee. They sort of don't really believe in Jesus. Where I do think that Jesus does exist. I think he did. I do think there's something to it. Um, but most of my other siblings probably don't. But that's okay.
yeah. No,
Um,
look, each their own when it comes to religion. I've got my own views on religions too. I hate them personally because it just
my
the way it
my
controlled
dad,
the world.
yeah, my dad does too. Actually, he said, one of the most evil things in the world is religion,
Yeah.
and I agree because look at it all the Catholic priests and the Vatican and all the secrets in there. Oh, I'd love to break into the Vatican.
Yeah.
Imagine what's going in there.
I know. It's just
Oh
so much
well,
history that they're just hidden behind those doors and just kept away from the world. Like they know more about the world than what anyone does. I reckon.
I yeah, definitely. I do think um, the Vatican and all that type of thing. I reckon, some of the priests that they've hired and that do horrible things to children in schools and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, religion is a very powerful and evil thing.
Yeah, that's where I'm more against the religion side of things because it's so controlling on our everyday lives. Because like the control, well, even back in the old days, like, everyone was so focused on religion. God is the way. Anything against that is
Yeah,
just like you're either a witch or you're evil, or
yeah,
even to question the church, like you're pretty much
yeah,
put to the chopping board. Um,
yeah.
Obviously, like
Stone.
it's not just religion itself. There's still a lot of evil in the world themselves from people everywhere. When it comes to like what to do with children and in that sort of spectrum. Um, but it's either way. I feel like religion was majorly controlling in on focusing on stopping people from getting in touch with their spiritual side, stopping a lot of shamanism. Sort of
Yeah,
anything in that sort of aspect where we can connect with the outer
yep,
environments of the spiritual world, or outer dimensions in that case. So
yep,
yeah, that's where my hatred for religion is, just because of based on that control. Even governments today, without trying to go political on it, but there's too much control in the world, and we're just so based on everything being what we see is the reality. We can't question anything outside of that. Otherwise, you're classed as a crazy person.
yeah. I mean, I believe in Jesus, but my stuff is light. You know what I mean? I don't carry heavy loads. I don't feel like I have to go to church. I'm not bogged down in it like a Jehovah's Witness that comes and forces themselves upon other people knocking at their doors on a Sunday or a Saturday. That's wrong. Um, but I'm more spiritual and believe, things are possible, just
Yeah,
not close my
yeah. Look, I've
so
also been open up to the possibility, like God is whatever you want to call it. It doesn't mean it has to be like from a Christian side or anything like that. It's just whatever you want to call God in your own universe. And
yeah, all religions have their God.
yeah, but even in the religions, they're all based off the same sort of story. Like you know, um,
One person that's divine and magical and had
yeah.
powers.
And they always had this prophet come down, like Jesus, or I think it was like Muhammad was the prophet. I think I can't remember. Or even got uh Buddhas, or I can't think it would come from the Buddha side of things now. But they always had like the main God guy, and then they always had some guy come from the heavens and spread
Yeah,
the word of the God. It always seems
yeah.
to be the same sort of story of the same one guy, another guy come in to spread it, and then yeah, to me it's just all the same story and just warped to religion's agendas.
To their side of the story, their
Yep.
beliefs. Yeah, yeah. I've never read the Bible, but I do believe that Jesus did exist. I mean, yeah. Well,
Yeah, without doubt. But he's not white.
I yeah,
Someone who's born in the Middle East and yet he's white.
Yeah.
with
Well,
mates named Michael, John, and Luke and stuff like, you know.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. They all come from the Middle East with those names. It's like,
Mm,
okay. But look, it's a crazy word out there. Like whether like what your beliefs are, religion or what, if it's just
yeah.
it's more the side of things like, you know, however you want to look at things, things are happening in this world we don't understand. It
Yep.
needs to be brought out, and like that's where I'm saying, like, you know, thanks to
Yeah.
you and others that are coming out speaking forward about these things. It's just it
Yeah.
opens up the entire new world. There's people to try and understand. Like, you know, feel free to
Yep.
question everything. You don't have to
Yeah.
go and sit there and accept everything in the world, you know, because there are so many questions, and we're not going to get all the answers. But the more people question things and try and figure out the answers, we might eventually get that answer.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think just, be kind. I think that humanity needs to be a bit more kind. Um, do one thing nice for somebody each day or something. Like I think that we're just not really, as a civilization, we're not going to last much longer. Like we're going in a bad way. There's too much crime, too many murders. It's just too many people addicted to drugs. It's scary,
Yeah,
scary.
isn't it?
I don't want to see animals extinct. I don't want to see wars. I don't want to see our beautiful planet blown up to smithereens. I care about people. I care about the planet. I care about Earth, animals. I care, there are other things out there.
Yeah, value life. That's pretty much what should we just value everything that's living in life and beautiful,
Yeah,
because the world is beautiful. It needs to be looked after, and that's where it comes down to like the ancient sort of civilizations. You know, they had an acceptance for the world around them. They appreciated the nature. You know, they respected nature. They lived in
yeah. I love,
harmony with nature, and you know everything was back to the land. You know,
yeah. I love being out in nature and,
it's beautiful.
yeah, I love all that sort of stuff. I feel like if I go to Melbourne, I'm like claustrophobic, and I come home and I feel like I'm just full of pollution and blow my nose, and it's all ugh,
Yeah,
like
I'm not much for city life either. It's I grew up on the Gold Coast there, and like, even though I was on the outskirts of the Gold Coast, it's still a city life, and it's just a rat race everywhere. People everywhere just focused on doing their jobs and stuff like that, and you know, you lose appreciation for what's the actual world's got for you.
yeah, to be thankful for.
Yeah,
Mm. I've
so it's
never been to Queensland, but I hope to go one day.
yeah. Look, even all places like Queensland's got this beautiful locations and that, like just like everywhere in Australia does, even everywhere around the world. And
Yeah,
whether we can go and travel those places in our lifetimes, that's the next thing. So hopefully we can get these UFO
yeah,
technology there, so we can go and zip to these locations and go and spend a bit of time there. You know, wouldn't that be awesome?
yeah. I don't know. Geez, I can't even go on a roller coaster, let alone a UFO. God,
Well,
drive hard.
the way they
I
have it
drive.
though is there's no gravity inside them, so you can just stand there and just zip to these locations. So there's no effects whatsoever, apparently.
Yeah, no, I'll be gone by then.
I think we will be too. Like a lot of this generation will be gone. I'm hoping to
Mm.
see something at least. So, but just quickly before we do finish the show up though, I was a question I was going to
Yep.
ask too. Like with the two UFOs you've seen, well, did you happen to take notice of any missing time or anything? Like if there was like a time frame between that at all? Like
No, no,
no,
no.
everything seemed
I
pretty
don't feel.
normal.
Yeah, I don't feel like they took me up in there. I know I'd remember it.
Well, that's the thing. Not a lot of people do remember it, so it's
Yeah,
one of those things.
yeah. Well, they can. Yeah, apparently they can manipulate sort of like you, so you don't remember, like
Yeah,
in that I've seen. But no, I never got that feeling. Never got the feeling like there's missing time or anything like that.
yeah,
I do remember not seeing it. It's sort of going behind, house roofs. Um, this power surge, and yeah, walking back up the driveway going inside, talking to Talish, going, wow, was that crazy or what?
yeah. No, so what about like in regards to your family wise? Are they have been pretty experienced with the UFO side of things as well, or is it mostly just the paranormal side of things they might have been a bit attuned to?
um my dad's seen one actually. My mum told me before she died that when she was still with my dad, they were driving out on that that highway where I saw the UFO above, but there's another road next to it called Waterloo Road. That used to be the old highway. Mum told me in the 80s, her and Dad were driving in a car down there and they saw a UFO.
Yeah, okay. Did they say what it did at all? Like if there's much to it?
Don't really, she didn't really give me much information. I mean, I was a kid when she told me. But I'm pretty sure she told me it had lots of colours on it, and yeah, it was flashing and it wasn't high like that high from the car.
Yeah, okay.
So
So yeah, give
um
regards to the 80s, yeah, something flashing lights like that, you're not gonna get
yeah,
that.
I know my dad maybe last year, I haven't got to speak to him about it yet. But my sister told me that my dad saw one at his farm in Traff last year, and my dad wouldn't make that up. Like he's pretty straight down the line. Like
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'll have to ask him about that. I wish I should have, because then I could have,
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, look, if you can go
Yeah,
and hit him up there, and like even if he wants to come on, and I'll add it to this part of the interview as well. If he wants to go and put his little snippet on there, hit him up
yeah,
for us. That'd be great.
yep,
Yeah, no, that'd
yeah.
be amazing. Look, before we finish up, like, is there anything else you want to sort of add to this whole topic, or any thoughts, or?
Um, I've got another ghosty thing. It didn't
Oh,
happen
okay,
to me.
okay, yeah, go for it.
Um, when my mum was, a little bit younger, like in her 30s, we used to go to our friend's house, um, Neville, and my little sister was about 3 at the time, Jessie, and Neville had a bedroom that was painted green, and it was full of musical instruments. And Jess was just always attracted to this room. She'd go and sit in there and just play with musical instruments, and she'd be talking to someone all the time in there. But she was the only kid in there, so we sort of like older kids and the adults and that started taking notice of it. Anyway, it had a chest of drawers with a mirror on it, and they took a photo of it, and there was a little boy ghost in the photo of the dresser mirror. And I think he was like probably dressed in the 1930s type clothes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow,
um,
that'd be scary.
but no one can find the photo.
Oh,
the photo
it's gone.
photo photo's missing. Yeah.
Damn, I was gonna
But
ask for a
yeah,
photo.
yeah. Yeah, but she was always attracted to this certain room at Mum's friend's house, and yeah, took a photo of it. And the little boy, she used to sit in there talking to someone. We always wondered who it was. It was like
Wow,
a little ghost boy
that'd have been creepy.
dressed.
Yeah, seeing that in the mirror.
Yeah, yeah,
That's creepy. It's just like one of those moments like you're like, oh, okay, yep, there is something there. Like, because like you sort of totally oblivious till you see something that's like shouldn't be there. Then you like that, oh, that creepy vibe to it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. But I don't think they got the vibe that this, because a lot of people that like see these things, they can say, even if they're children, ghost children, they sort of, that they're got a sinister sort of, they're trying, they're a little bit evil. But yeah, they got the impression that this little boy wasn't like, you know, trying to hurt anyone or cause a scene or, nothing like that.
yeah.
It's just,
Do you happen to try and find the history of the house at all to see if like there had happened to be any deaths in the house or anything like that?
no, I don't know.
Not that I'm
I
sure that
don't
we can
know.
get that record in Australia. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Nah, didn't really find out anything. I mean, because I was still a kid then. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, just stuck out. I just remembered that.
Yeah, no, that's all
But
right.
when my pa died in hospital, my mum said that mum was out of pa's hospital room when he was like going to die, and down the corridor or somewhere else talking to doctors and um, grandma. And I don't know, something happened where like pa went out of his body and floated down the corridor and heard the conversation what mum and grandma and the doctors were talking about. Yeah, there's something weird about that.
Yeah, I've heard about
I've
the
also,
out of body experiences.
yeah, and I've also floated out of my body a couple of times. Like you're laying on the bed. I think they're called OBEs, aren't they? Out of body
Something like,
experiences.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I've been asleep and I'm laying on the bed, but then I'm awake and I'm like watching me, like I can see myself and feel myself on the bed, but I'm floating up above the bed, like
Oh,
the
that's
roof of
different.
the. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I
'Cause-
haven't, I haven't done, I haven't done that for many years, but that was that house in Trafford that it happened. Probably about 2, 3 times.
yeah, okay. I remember
Yeah,
having something similar like that happen to myself when I was a kid. I don't know if it was a dream or what, but I remember like I knew that I was in bed asleep, but I was out of bed and I was like hiding from my dad because he came in and checked on me when I was in, in the bedroom, thinking I'm going to get in
yeah,
trouble for still being awake, you know. But I was hiding,
yeah,
and but
yeah,
yet I had these other people around me in my room as well, which yeah, obviously no one's around in the room because it's my own room,
yeah,
and that's all I can remember. Like my dad just coming in, open the door, checking to see if I'm asleep, and then that was it. But yeah, it's just the weird fact that I knew that my body was still in bed, kind of thing. That's the weird thing. That's probably the only memory I have, sort of like might potentially be an out of body experience. I'm not sure, but
yep.
the other thing is too, like I had these other people around me, which I had no idea who they were
Mm,
in any relation. So it's just like we were like, oh, he's here, you can hear us. We're all giggly and whatnot, and that's my that's my closest experience, maybe.
yeah, wow.
So yeah, it's weird what we can do, eh? With I don't know, anything that's supernatural, we can do some weird things. We're attuned to it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to keep looking up in the skies, looking up to the skies at night time, have a cuppa outside.
Yeah,
I'm going to
bloody
keep
oath.
looking. And yeah, if I see like, a light up in the sky that's moving and it's just too small, I don't even bother trying to use my phone. I mean, if I seen that great big yellow thing and it wasn't far from me, then I'd get my phone out and record it. But a lot of it, I just watch it with my own eyes and just experience it, not sort of worry about filming it. But if I know that it's something that it's not going to look ridiculous and a tiny dot on the camera,
Yeah,
I'll try and film it for sure.
yeah, bloody oath. Because what that yellow object happened, what, about 2008, 2009? Did you say?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah, I think
2000, I think.
yeah. Well, even
Yeah,
then, phones or anything like that were crap during nighttime photography, so you would have got nothing.
yeah,
So unfortunately, but look, if you got nothing more to add to this,
that's it.
that's it. Look,
Yeah,
look, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been absolutely wonderful having on you and talking about your experiences there and just having a general chat about it. It's absolutely fantastic and wonderful. And yeah, can't thank you enough for joining me.
that's all right. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah, no worries. Well, look, hopefully talk to you again in the future there, and hopefully get something from your old man, and
Yep,
hopefully get his two Bible in there. But yeah, again, yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
no worries.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
talk to you soon. Cheers. Yeah.
Bye.
And that will do it, folks, for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget, if you or someone you know has had an encounter, to please get in touch with me to be featured on the podcast. If you are a fan of the show, you can support the podcast by purchasing some awesome merchandise that's available on our online store via the link provided in the episode description. So thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Encounter Down Under. Hooroo!